Hey, this is Jason Lavender, and welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investing for Real. I'm your host. Today, my guest is Derek Blades. Derek is a local investor here in our Wichita market. I've known Derek for a few years, and quite honestly, Derek, such a genuine dude. He's honestly killing it. Does a lot of really different, interesting things, and just added to their family. So, Derek, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from and, kind of your investing background. Get us going.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
On the podcast.
Here we are.
Yeah. Man, you do a lot for the investment community in town. And, that's how I met like my property managers, a lot of contractors, a lot of lenders was through your meetups. So
Meetups.
yeah. It's
Are you coming today?
I'll be there.
All right, man.
It's lunch, right?
That's right.
Cool.
We're having some good lunch this time. None of that crappy pizza.
Yeah. What do you got today?
Our host today is bringing barbecue.
Cool.
So
That'd be good.
Yeah. We'll meet another property manager or
Yep.
somebody.
So I love to tell the story about how I got started because I was actually renting a property from this guy that had a few hundred doors. And he was always telling me, just go buy one rental property. And so finally, after like 2 or 3 years, I went and bought one property, got the first rent check in the mail, and cash flowed like $300 a month. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I did nothing last month, and I got $300. So I quit my job, quit everything, and I just went all in.
Like immediately?
Immediately.
Okay,
like within like 2 or 3 months, I had everything out, and I was just doing flips and rentals full time. But that first rent check, when it's like, man, this is how much I make in a few days of work, and I didn't do anything.
Yeah, you made that while you slept.
Made it while you slept. Yeah.
So what? When did you jump into real estate? How long you been in?
At the very beginning of 18, so it's been like 5 years.
2018. All right.
Yeah.
That's honestly that's about the time I jumped in too. So it feels like I haven't been in real estate too long, and then some days it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So tell us a little bit about your, some of your investing strategies, some of the cool things you're doing. I know you dive into commercial stuff. I know we were just talking before the show about, commercial office building that you just purchased. So like, what are some of your strategies? What do you do? What have you tried and what have you hated? What's your jam right now?
Yeah. So, I do kind of the basic stuff. I do some wholesaling, some fix and flips, some single family rental houses. I've tried to do multifamily, like small apartment things and groups, like big groups of duplexes. I'm not really a fan of those. I know multifamily right now, everybody wants, multifamily's the best, but the management was just out of control. When you have that many people living that close together, it seemed like it was just issues all the time. So
they're always threatening to kill each other.
It's wild. It's wild.
Literally.
I've never done any like new construction stuff. I think that would be fun to do, but the timelines are really long on that stuff. Yeah. And then some commercial if I can find the right deal, but I'm kind of at the point of just transitioning into that. Mm-hmm. But it's a different game, commercial stuff.
I know one of your unique strategies, I think that a lot of our listeners probably maybe know some about, but maybe not the nuts and bolts of it is like you do a lot of RTO or contract for deed, right?
Yeah. RTOs.
So walk us through what a contract for deed is, difference between RTO. Sometimes they're used interchangeably, but essentially, when you choose to utilize that strategy, that exit strategy, you acquire property, walk us through like that process.
Yeah. So I've been converting a lot of the single family rentals into RTOs because, it's the same as like if you had a mortgage on a property, you're essentially be in the bank at that point. Mm-hmm. So you can have a mortgage, you can have a contract for deed, a land contract, a rent to own, a lease option. They're all variations of pretty much the same thing.
So these are properties, correct me if I'm wrong, these are properties that you've purchased, you've identified as a good investment property at one point or another. You've done a rehab, either a light or moderate or heavy rehab. Mm-hmm. And in this case, you've placed a long-term tenant. And as these leases expire, you're choosing to not renew a long-term tenant, but switch over to this model, right?
Yeah. Pretty much switching them all over to the RTO, rent to own. So what they do is they put $10,000 down, and then we usually do a full 30-year rent to own option.
You're the bank.
Yeah.
I like that strategy, honestly.
Yeah.
We're doing the same thing.
Yeah, you have no property management, no vacancy, no repair. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and I don't know if do you ever do cost segregation on your rentals?
Mm-mm.
Something I just started doing this year, and the tax deferment on it's been pretty huge. But my accountant's like, if you've got a mechanism where RTO or a deed, not a straight long-term rental, it's like, yeah, you're in gray area. It's a cost seg though. So that was the only benefit that I saw of long-term rentals. Mm-hmm. I hated the headaches and the maintenance and the blah, 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 we talked about briefly multifamily. I mean, neighbors trying to threaten each other. I mean, you really can flush all that away with a contract for deed, land contract, or RTO, well executed contract. I mean, would you agree?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like the land contract and contract for deed better, but there's a lot of Dodd-Frank compliance issues where you have a volume limit or you have to go through an underwriting process, which
Right.
I've done both. And I mean, you can do them, but the rent to own's a little bit cleaner.
What was the underwriting process like?
There's like a debt to income ratio. They have to just qualify, kind of like qualifying at a bank, but it is looser terms.
Okay. Really? I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're doing a lot of volume.
Well, the limit's pretty low per year before you have to do that. So
Where you at? Yeah. So tell me, sometimes, a lot of times on our show, we like to talk about maybe some of the lessons you've learned, or maybe some of the horror stories, or some of the. Is there a particularly bad property or flip that sticks out in your mind that just like completely ate your lunch, just like made you want to throw in the towel or anything?
every day, dude. every
truth.
flip, by the time you get to closing and get your check, it's like, why would I ever do this?
What?
I'll do one more though.
Definition of insanity, right? Anything particular stand out on any of your properties that
I've actually never really totally lost money on a flip. I broke even on a couple.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say starting off, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was like in there trying to rewire a house myself.
Yeah.
I had no business doing stuff like that.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
When you start, you have no money. You got to do it. So.
Yeah. And so is that how you tackled it when you first got in? I mean, you were hands-on, doing a lot of the work yourself. And what was the process when you realized like, okay, I got to stop trading hours for dollars and start, hiring this out? I mean, were you pretty far in the game, or were you like quickly, all right, this isn't for me. I gotta bounce. I gotta do something different.
I think when I started doing multiple flips at a time
Mm-hmm.
is when I was still doing the project managing, but I'd hire the painters, hire the roofers and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you really can't do multiple flips at a time yourself.
No, your bandwidth isn't large enough, and when you try to, you're ineffectively flipping houses they're not getting to the finish line. I've done that, and it's a hot mess. That's why I always tell people, you really need to strategically think about what you're good at, delegate the rest. I mean, really focus on what, good revenue generating activities that you can produce in your business. And quite honestly, for most new investors and house flippers, it is drop the tool belt. I mean, it's get rid of the tools. Mm-hmm. Don't go out and buy a bunch of tools in a trailer and all that stuff like I did, and think that is an investor, because you're just a part-time remodeler.
Did you gear up when you started?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, dude. Oh, and I enjoyed it. I mean, honestly, and partially for me, I wanted to kind of feel all the bumps in the road and understand the pain and the process of remodeling start to finish. And so, first 4 I did. I mean, I was all about it. And, but yeah, just like you said, I mean, I couldn't do multiple at a time. I tried, and, quite honestly, you can't be 2 places at once. And I would try to sub out, a few things. But yeah, the day I decided to burn my tool belt was the best decision in my business. Because we're not remodelers.
No,
we're investors.
Yeah. I think like what I do to add the most value to the business is just finding the deal and digging for deals and making offers. And I mean, most people can't do that really.
No.
But it comes naturally to me. Like I can't paint a wall; it'd look horrible, but I can go get a deal.
Yeah.
So
in your business now, what's your primary? You said finding deals, so you're still underwriting and finding your deals. What's your primary focus of your like day-to-day tasks in your business? Like what's your most important things you're doing?
So I do go on appointments, make offers, keep closings on, do like transaction coordination as far as keeping closings on track. And then.
So you're talking title company yourself all the time? Yeah.
And banks and stuff.
Have you tried to outsource that?
No.
I'm thinking about it, but I'm leery.
Yeah.
Because so much stuff could get messed up, man. So bad.
Yeah. It's when you're trying to buy like 2 houses on the same street and then nobody knows what's going on.
2 sellers, same street. Yeah. Different closing dates.
Yeah. You have to do it yourself almost.
Yeah.
But, and then I do a lot of my project managing at a high level. So I'll schedule plumbers and electricians and painters. Mm-hmm. They're responsible for their own material and stuff. So mostly it's just keeping jobs on time schedules.
So you hire for labor and they provide materials. You don't mess with providing any materials or anything like that?
I pay for it and they go pick it up. Yeah.
Okay. So you control the material costs, but not the actual time. And yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. I had a Lowe's account.
Yeah.
They were rolling through, I won't say numbers, a lot.
Yeah.
Just, you don't want to just give a contractor a credit card.
No, I've done that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can with the trusted somebody, and I've had that go well, but I've had it go terrible. Mm-hmm. To where like Home Depot's calling me up and they're like, is remember that person supposed to be grabbing skill saws, table saws, and routers? It's like, no, they're not supposed to grab that. No, they're supposed to go get 2x4s, not all that.
And then even to track what 2x4s they're buying, that could be for any job. And so, yeah, I keep track of that. And that was a big leak in the company, was materials waste.
Honestly, yeah. That's something that we had to do, is audit kind of our process like that. And we would find some of the materials I was paying for was getting, exaggerated and then shipped to other jobs, their other side projects. So essentially I found out I was funding other people. Well, I was funding the contractor because they were skimming both sides, I'm sure. Because contract or investor or client they were working for on the other side, and they were probably doing the same thing. Yeah, that's interesting. We could probably talk all day about contractors. I think let's go there. Like that's something I think. So anybody that's an investor, more or less is going to be dealing with some sort of rehab at some point, whether they're managing it or they're hiring it out completely. But understanding that, fixing up crappy properties, whether they're residential or commercial, is part of the gig. What have been some of the wins and maybe some of the losses you've had with contractors, and like, how to negotiate, how to, deal with them? I mean, what's your payouts? I mean, are you, I know the answer to this, but you're giving a big money, a big chunk down.
Yeah, I just give them it all up front.
Pay it all up front.
Thanks. Nice knowing you.
And they promise to get it done by a certain date, right?
Absolutely.
Yesterday. No, for real. Yeah. Like, so what have been some of your wins and losses on some of the ways that you've been able to manage contractors? Because quite honestly, investors and contractors depend on each other. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes one person, one part of that equation thinks they're trying to get over on the other one, but really we need each other, and we're trying to create win-wins. And so, as the investor, we're in the driver's seat. We need to stay in the driver's seat. So what are some of the things that you've done with contractors?
I mean, I have some pretty good contractor tips on how to work with them. So like having an extremely detailed scope of work.
That's right.
Because, oh, Derek, you didn't tell us that this door needed replaced. That's $500. Well, no, you knew. So you definitely, even maybe a walkthrough video of you pointing and talking about what you need to do. Yep. Make them sign it. Sometimes I'll give them a small draw, like $1,000 to start, but it needs to be like a tiny first draw. Mm-hmm. Because if the money gets ahead of the work, they're gone.
Yeah, that's hard. 100%. Every time you get on the wrong side of the money, you pay ahead on something, you get ghosted, and they know that.
Yeah.
Do you pay at the end of the job? You do draws? You do weekly? How do you pay out usually?
I'll pay daily if they need it.
For real?
Yeah. Or every couple of days.
If that gets them, yeah.
It may be
like
$200 and maybe $500, but a lot of contractors are just, they're buying gas. They're out there spending their money to get the job done. So I try to take care of them.
That's good. I think that's key. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because I feel the same way. When we talk to contractors, I mean, I'm sure you're the same way. You've probably been approached by every type of contractor, from, the extremely high-end remodelers that, give you the white glove treatment, and down to, the guys that really don't know what they're doing. But I've found my comfort zone has been in the guys that are providing for their families, do quality work. They don't drive a truck nicer than mine. And, quite honestly, they need you to pay out, and yeah, we do weekly, and that seems to work out. That daily, I mean, I've seen that work out really well before, especially like demo and some of the lower skill level positions. But yeah, have you had experience with I'm sure you have, like remodelers coming in, you get what you pay for, you're doing it all wrong, or like telling you how to run your investing business?
Yeah. Every contractor is going to come in and say, what contractor did this work? They did horrible, because never as good as the work they did.
Of course. Right. And don't show me pictures, right. But yeah.
But one thing that I started doing was not going on till one phase was done. So like right now we just started a flip in Park City, and, just demo the outside, the fence, the trees, the deck, that stuff. So we paid when that was done. Now just fix the trim, they fix the trim. Now just paint the house, then they just paint the house. And when you keep it really one step at a time, I found that keeps them from starting 8 projects on your house and not doing anything. Yeah.
Because they'll say, well, I got the fence done, but I didn't do that. They're 10% done with,
10% done with everything.
And
but they want half their money.
That's good. And I love your idea. And we do this as well. And listeners, your scope of work should be dialed in, should be very detailed. I've seen scope of works, that were written on a napkin, 1 page, and that's not a scope of work. Verbally never works. If you say you're just, we got a text message thread going, I wouldn't do that either. I mean, you need a piece of paper. That's how we do. We're old school. We print it out, and, the different contractors that we're hiring, we're handing it to them. We're asking them to initial, everything that they're going to be doing, and is detailed. So, I mean, I think a good scope of work for us is at least 5 pages. I don't know. Maybe you got 30 pages or something.
No, I mean, yeah, five's good. But yeah, when I started, I didn't know a lot about construction, so it's kind of hard to do a scope of work when you don't know, do the beams need replaced? Does the subfloor need replaced? And so that's just something you learn as you go.
So that's important. I think that's key, is like investors jumping in know that there's money in real estate. There's, opportunity in real estate, but maybe they don't have that construction background or anything. So, I mean, how did you learn? Just trial and error? I mean, just being in it?
Bought a really cheap piece of junk and just fixed it myself. And then when the contractor tries to tell you this and this need done, you say, no, I've done it. You don't have to do it that way.
Yep.
Oh, well, you're right. We don't have to do it that way.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say start cheap and just get in there and do a couple yourself.
Yeah, that's great. Like I said, that's exactly what I did, because I wanted to feel the pain and hit every speed bump in the road, to know exactly, because I had a background. I had a painting company, but I wasn't a full remodeler. So I was experienced with parts of a construction project, but the feeling the pain and doing it, experiencing it, I think is invaluable. Because when, a contractor comes to you with BS and says, you need to do this and this and this, you're like, no, I don't. And this brings up a point I thought about, was when other people are telling you, if you don't stay in the driver's seat and other people are telling you, what you need to do or what you should be doing, they don't have your bottom line in mind. I mean, they're not looking at all the factors, the purchase price, the complete rehab, the scope and potentially what it's going to sell for, the exit strategy. So I always tell people, I take advice from people that, I can truly take advice from. I'm not taking advice from, some contractor that's trying to upsell me. I'm sure you've been privy to a lot of upsells.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just because you know how to do tile doesn't mean you need to tile the entire house and all the bathrooms. And
yeah.
So you have to, keep it in the scope of work. And then, and I just tell them what the job pays. That's one big thing that's helped a lot is contractors really don't want to give a bid. And then if they do give a bid, it seems to be way high. So we just say, hey, we pay $1,500 to paint a house. What it is. You don't have to do it if you don't want to do it.
So you told me this a couple of years ago, and it really set a light off, got me thinking just that strategy to negotiate with contractors, because, we both flip a lot of houses. And so we talk to a lot of contractors, and the truth is, and so those listening here, I mean, any contractor pool that you're talking to, and again, these high-end contractors that are going to give you the white glove treatment, are not going to be an investor's best friend. The contractors that are going to help you achieve your goals, oftentimes are not real adept at, bidding larger projects. And so, something you told me, and you just alluded to right now, is like, basically you're looking for standardized pricing. I mean, you're to the point where you say, we pay $1,500 for an exterior, and then that contractor can say, my guess is they're all, oh my gosh, I couldn't do it for a penny less than 2,000. Like, okay, well, thanks for coming. Essentially, right? And I think you shared that with me before. It was like some of the day rate stuff. You would walk a contractor through and explain what needed to be done, and you'd ask him how many days it would take, and then you'd say, okay, great, I pay X amount of dollars per day rate. When can you start? And quite honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I know you have a good relationship with all of your contractors, and they appreciate the consistent work, and they probably appreciate the absence of this crazy negotiation and this whole bartering thing. So anyway, kudos to you. I think that, elaborate on any of that, kind of your model, how you negotiate with contractors.
Well, that strategy that you were talking about, where I say, well, how many guys you got? Okay, we got 4 guys. I say, okay, how long you think you can do it in 4 weeks? Oh yeah, definitely going to get this done in 4 weeks. Okay, so 4 guys for 4 weeks, and I'll pay you $250 per day per guy. Well, that only comes up to X amount. And why are you charging me twice that? You're trying to make $500 a day a guy. So I give them a fair rate, and I mean, they should be able to make money at that. But usually if you break down the man hours and what they're charging you, it's pretty high. Yeah.
And my experience has been, well, sometimes they know they're charging high and they're just padding it, and they're throwing a price out that they expect to get chewed down a little bit. But that's exhausting. I hate doing that anyway. I mean, nobody likes that. I don't know. Or sometimes they're not real adept at, the whole complete bidding process, but they can agree to a good idea of, yeah, that's a 4-week project. So I love how you stay in the driver's seat, and you dictate the terms that your rehabs are going to stay profitable and not. I can tell you, everybody listening to this podcast that's rehabbed a house has a story about a rehab amount or a rehab that just got out of control on costs. And honestly, I think you probably cracked the code on that. So simple negotiation like that, man, everybody take notes, man. That's really good.
Well, I just had one that, after that whole talk, I thought it was going to be like a skim coat and paint, and it ended up being pull the drywall down through the whole house and rewire it, replumb it, new heating and air, new roof, new drywall, new paint. So
it doesn't always work.
No, it doesn't.
That's true. I mean, that's
what
so
can
true.
You do?
Something you were talking, something I've been teaching and talking about, KPIs, a lot of our businesses, KPIs are, marketing driven. We're making so many calls or sending out so many postcards or things like that. We're trying to track our numbers. But one thing, here's a tip for you. I don't know, maybe you adopt this, but something that we've started tracking is how many days on our rehab do we have 4 or more contractors on a job for a full day. I can't tell how many times we've been at the start of a project and it goes well, 2-3 weeks in, it's starting to peter down, and our project managers are chasing our contractors because they're doing some side work or whatever. But I can tell you this, if you've got 4 or more contractors on a job for a full 8-hour day, you're going to be able to hit your timelines, and timelines are consistent. Time kills deals. If you miss a timeline and you're listing a house, at not an optimal time, or, you're paying for your carrying costs and everything. But something to keep in mind for those listening is that having consistent contractors there every day, 5-6 days a week, is key, because there's nothing more deflating than showing up to a project, showing up to a job site, and there's one guy, right? I mean, that's like a kick in the teeth.
Yeah. So you're talking about like 3 or 4 just guys working, so not like an electrician and a plumber and a...
Well, it could be a mix. So like, yeah, I know, I tell my project managers, if we know we're going to be pulling wire and doing, so we'll have 2 electricians there. I need at least, I'll count my 2 electricians, and I need at least 2 other people, because sometimes they're, somebody's working inside or outside. I mean, 4 is a minimum. I mean, we've had projects extremely successful where we've had, up to 8 people consistently through. I mean, we did a flip in 20 days. I still want to try a 7-day flip. You ever done one of those?
I've heard some guys do stuff like that.
I want to do one.
4-day flip, 7-day flip.
I would like to try one. That would be like a choreographed.
It would be so congested in the house. How would everybody even fit in there?
It would be. The 20-day flip I did, we had consistently about 8 people, but the whole premise of having 4 people, whether it's, you got a plumber and some painters there, you got somebody, working, a couple guys outside, a couple guys inside, you got 2 guys hanging cabinets, and then you got 2 guys laying tile. Just the idea that it's consistently moving down the, because I've personally, we've done a lot of projects to where, we'll show up and, like, where's the tile guys? And then come to find out, there was guys laying trim and we didn't want to, they were in our way. I'm like, oh no, that ain't going to work. I mean, you could easily lay tile while somebody's in the kitchen doing something else. You can work in the bathrooms. And anyway, just consistently getting projects towards the finish line is huge. And I've talked to so many new investors that just blow their timeline. I mean, I don't know if you know this number, but an average rehab, are you doing average rehabs, moderate rehabs, 4 or 5 weeks? Yeah. 6 weeks? Okay.
Yeah, 6 weeks. If it's not done in 6 weeks,
6 weeks. Something went right. Right. Like the one you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So I think
my 12-week project.
12. I've got some houses, they're a hot mess. But anyway, I've learned a lot on a package I bought. But a lot of newer investors don't understand, it's my impression, they don't understand the importance of like consistently moving forward. And so, I'll talk about a 4 or 5 month rehab. Oh, I'm like, man. And again, the goal is not to win awards. This isn't a parade of homes. The goal is not to win awards. The goal is to get to the next project, in my mind anyway, as an investor. And you can't do that with inflated timelines. Do you agree?
Yeah.
There we go.
And, people say, you have so many projects going. Well, I'm trying to turn them, like, they take so long. By the time you identify the one you want to buy, and then you get to closing, that can be 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You get it rehab, you get it listed, you get it sold. So you got to have a lot of projects going if you want to have checks coming in consistently.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can't do one flip at a time.
Yeah, it's not like you get your check at the title company and then the next day you go out and start looking for a new project. It's constantly always looking. And I think there's so much we could talk about, because I know I'm gonna have to have you back. You could talk about funding. We could talk about some other exit strategies. I know you've got, I don't know. You want to come back sometime?
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So we're kind of winding down, but I know some exciting news. I don't know if you care if I share, but your family just grew. Is that right?
Yep. Had my first child, a daughter, 3 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
It's awesome. I don't even want to leave the house anymore.
No. I'm glad you showed up here, man. That's cool.
I almost brought her with me.
You could have, man. You totally could have.
Next time on the next
What's her name?
Avery.
Avery
Pretty Blades, yeah. She's cute.
Well, congratulations. And your wife doing good?
Yeah, she's doing really well.
Awesome.
Doing all the work. I just show up and
just sit back,
take a picture and hand her back.
Ain't that the truth? Well, at this age, they're probably, still pretty chill, sleeping through the night. Give it about 6 months and start cutting teeth and all that. And your time's coming.
There's a chart of how much a child cries over the first year, and we haven't even made it up into.
Oh, is there a chart? I can believe that.
Yeah. We're down here at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
You're still in the incubation sleep stage. Mm-hmm. Well, congrats, man. That's super awesome.
Thank you. It's exciting.
Yeah, excited for you. Well, again, my guest today's been Derek Blades. I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface, but hopefully, I think some really cool construction tips. Obviously, some contractor conversations I think are so vital. Again, this is Real Estate Investing for Real. Jason Lavender. Derek Blades, man, thanks for being here. I really do appreciate it. And quite honestly, I'm going to have to hit you up and take you up on the offer to come back and do another episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks.